Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today I am going to talk about my top 10 middle grades of 2019. These are not in any particular order because it's too difficult to rate them. It's a struggle for me. These books have all been rated 4 or 5 stars from me. If you didn't know, I took part in Believeathon in November, so that was a middle grade / children's readathon that was hosted by Gav from Gav Hetherington, and I will leave any information surrounding that down below. I've no doubt it's going to happen again next November because it has completely blown up. Fantastic readathon, just brings a lot of attention towards children's books and middle grades. As adults we can totally read them, and it makes complete sense to do so because they are really inspiring, dead enjoyable, and a complete palate cleansers. If you just want to spend a whole month just reading middle grades, you'll come out of it the other end feeling so happy and elated, and they're just fantastic. They can also be hard-hitting though as well, so there are a couple in here that are hard-hitting, but most of these are like fantasy and just really enjoyable and cutesy. And I just wanted to mention some of my favourite middle grades this year and just pay homage to the amazing work that Gav put into Believeathon and just bringing people's attentions to more middle grades. I didn't pick up middle grade, not consciously anyway. I was subconsciously picking up Winnie the Pooh every now and then, and obviously Harry Potter is in theory a middle grade, but obviously as an adult you read them as well. I've only ever read them as adult anyway. I think I was subconsciously picking up middle grades but not going out of my way to pick up middle grades, and now I will go out of my way to pick up middle grades. If I see something in a bookshop and I think, oh my god, that sounds amazing, totally pick it up, children's book or not, I'm not bothered. So just wanted to mention some of my favourites this year. If I can remember the star rating off the top of my head, I will tell you what I gave it. I should be able to because I've only just finished the Believeathon, so I'll let you know. So to start off with, these are in no particular order like I mentioned I think at the beginning of the video. So to start off with, I've got The Best Bear in All the World. This is by Paul Bright, Brian Sibley, Jean Willis and Kate Saunders. It's not by A.A. Milne. This is essentially set 90 years since Winnie the Pooh first stepped into 100 Acre Wood. So obviously A.A. Milne has passed now, but this is just continuing on with stories of Winnie the Pooh and his friends, and I just loved it so much. This is split up into 4 stories following the seasons, so spring, summer, autumn and fall, autumn and winter, and I just loved it so much. The writing style was not much different, to be fair, to what A.A. Milne already did anyway with Winnie the Pooh. It was just really cute. I really enjoyed it. You still got illustrations and I just loved it so much. I'm always going to love Winnie the Pooh. It's my favourite childhood pastime because I didn't read a lot as a kid, but Winnie the Pooh was always one that I would pick up, and I'm obsessed with Winnie the Pooh. I've got Winnie the Pooh dotted all around the house, so really love this. Highly recommend. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. It's fantastic. Then I'm going to recommend The Christmas Saurus by Tom Fletcher. This is the first book that I've ever picked up from Tom Fletcher. I do have what's it called, The Something of Eve by Giovanni and Tom together, and I'm looking forward to picking that up at some point now that I've read this. But I loved this so much. 5 out of 5 stars. I just adored it. It was fantastic. We're following a little boy called William who's in a wheelchair after a car accident when he was younger, in which I think they actually lost his mother, so he only lives with his dad. His dad's obsessed with Christmas. Will's a really happy kid and he's obsessed with dinosaurs. So not only are we following William, but we're following Santa as well, and it's just a really fun story. We're also following a Christmas Saurus. Santa finds an egg and it's the Christmas Saurus egg, and oh, I just love it. There are scenes of bullying in this book which are really difficult to read. I was so angry with the bully in this book, but I just really friggin' loved it. It's adorable, it's illustrated, and Tom writes like a child, so I think that was something else I really enjoyed about it. Sometimes with middle grade books they can be very heavy considering the middle grade. You imagine you know, like maybe early teens or even mid-teens reading the books, or adults reading them to the children, as opposed to, you know, actual kids reading the books, whereas this, you imagine the kid reading the book. It's written so perfectly for children. I just think it's fantastic. Like I say, I give it 5 out of 5 stars, and I do highly recommend it. I loved it. I'm so excited to read the second one. Cannot wait. I'm reading it during December and I'm so super excited. Next I'm going to recommend Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. I listened to this on audio and I thought it was really good. This is following Morrigan Crow, who is thought to be a cursed child, and on her 11th birthday is going to die, essentially. It turns out that does not happen. She gets whisked away by a remarkable man called Jupiter North, who takes her to the secret city of Nevermore, and it turns out that she is a little bit magical, and the story just goes from there. The second in the series is called Wondersmith, the third in the series is called Hollowpox, which comes out in March next year, and I do highly recommend you pick this up. It's fantastic, such a good adventure. Really enjoyed it. This is one of those books that I do imagine children of early teen years reading, rather than children younger than that reading themselves. So, but I really love it. Highly recommend it. Perfect as an adult as well. It does give you Harry Potter vibes a little bit, so really love that. I'm going to recommend it, Cinders and Sparks by Lindsay Kelk. This is adorable. Again, I recommend listening to this on audio. It's fantastic. I love the audio book. Bit of a cast that goes into this, but there are illustrations in the book as well, so I imagine physically reading this is a joy as well. This is the first in a series, a trilogy, and the second is Cinders and Sparks Fairies in the Forest, I think, which has also come out since. The third comes out in February, something to do with goblins. I can't remember the title of it though. And this is fantastic. Really loved it. Obviously it's Cinderella, and Sparks is the dog, and we just sort of follow her on adventures. We've got also in the second book, you come across some more characters from your traditional fairy tales: Rapunzel, the Three Bears, Hansel from Hansel and Gretel. There's a couple others. I assume we might come across some more in the last one as well, but I really loved this. It's outstanding. I do highly recommend you giving this a read. Really loved it. Next I'm going to recommend Land of Raw by Jenny McLachlan. I physically read this. I started physically reading it, then I put the audiobook on because I found it on Scribd, and follow with the book. It was really good. The audiobook was really interesting. There are illustrations again. We're following two twins who, if I remember rightly, are about 11 years old now, but when they were younger they used to have this, they used to go through the mattress like this, you know, crawl through and shout when they got to the other end, "Hear me roar," and then they go into what they thought was the Land of Raw, obviously thinking it was just their imagination. But they're at an age now where the granddad's sort of saying, look, if you go in the loft and clear it up a little bit, we could turn it into a den, get you some TVs, some computer consoles and stuff, you could chill out in there, etc. So the kids are clearing it up, but the young lad, I can't remember the names of the children now, and it's Rose and Arthur. So the twins are called Rose and Arthur. So Arthur completely believes that the Land of Raw is like still there and it's a real thing. Rose is at an age now where she's on her phone all the time. She just wants to be with the girls. She doesn't really give a shit about her brother anymore. So she's like, oh Arthur, you're just going on, I don't even remember what you're talking about, I don't even remember the Land of Raw, what are you going on about? Anyway, turns out that Grandad ends up going through the mattress and getting stuck in the Land of Raw. The Land of Raw is not just the imagination. So Arthur goes in as well to go find Grandad and rescue him. There's a lot of stuff goes down and it's just such a great adventure. I really enjoyed this. Obviously there were dragons in here and I just really loved the thought of going from reality into, you know, what they thought was just their imagination. Because as a kid I always used to play games like this where it just was like, you know, teachers or a fantasy world, or even pretending that a fantasy world was real and then that my actual real life was pretend. Does that make sense? So as a kid I just totally related to this. I just thought it was really good. I thought it was fantastic. I just loved the adventure. The illustrations were great as well, which is why I eventually did the combo of following with the book but with the audio as well, because I was getting lazy, my eyes were getting tired, but I wanted to continue with the book. Just really loved it. Loads of fun. Arthur and Rose are so funny as well. Just thought it was fantastic. Next I'm going to recommend I, Cosmo by Carly Sorosiak. At some point I will learn how to say that. This is following a golden retriever called Cosmo, his family, so mum, dad, Max, young boy Max, 12 years old, and then little sister Emmeline, I think she's called. Can't remember how old she is, she might be about 7. And essentially mum and dad are having problems, they're arguing a lot, there is the word divorce has been thrown about, but we get the story from the voice of Cosmo. So the dog obviously doesn't talk per se, but he listens to conversation, he relays conversation for us, he listens to what Max is telling him. So I sit and have a conversation with my dog all the time, but Max obviously is having conversations with Cosmo, chatting to him, telling him his problems, telling him what he's thinking, and they come across a dance competition. So you dance with your pet and you can win the opportunity of being in a film. Max comes up with this idea that maybe if his parents see him in this dance competition with Cosmo, that maybe, and they win, that maybe the parents might not split them up. Max is worried that he is going to end up going with mum, with Emmeline, and they're going to be split up, and Cosmo's going to end up going with dad. That's what he's really, really worried about, and it's a genuine concern, I can imagine, for a child to be split up from your best friend. Like, it must be awful, it must be such an awful worry. And I just really, really love this book. There were obviously, it's not fantasy by any means, it is contemporary but told from the opinion of a dog, so which in itself is just a little bit, is different, it's different, and I really enjoyed it, really loved this. I would love to see it as a movie actually, I think it would be so good. But I really enjoyed this. There weren't illustrations in this at all, but it's just really fantastic, just gorgeous, amazing. Love a good dog story. I am obsessed with this book, I just think it's so cutesy. I'm also going to give an honourable mention to Halls by Louis Sasha. This is obviously a classic children's book, it's not very long. We are following, I read this earlier on this year, so apologies. We're following Stanley. I've only just noticed this. Holy shit. I know that's inappropriate because this is a middle grade video, but I'm not sorry. Stanley Yelnats. I've only just noticed, I don't know if this is mentioned in the book and I already knew this or not, but I've only just noticed that his last name is his first name backwards. What? Anyway, Stanley has bad luck, which is all because of his no good, dirty, rotten, pig stealing great grandfather. When Stanley's bad luck unfairly lands him in juvenile detention centre Camp Green Lake, a very weird place that isn't green and doesn't have a lake, he and his campmates Zero, X-Ray, Armpit, Squid, Magnet and Zigzag are forced to dig holes in order to build character. But what are they really digging for? It's hilarious. It's funny, it's hard hitting, it's obviously contemporary, but there is bits of bullying goes on in here, and lots of bullying actually, not just from the kids but also from the juvie detention centre guards and stuff. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with this actually. I haven't watched the film yet, I am meaning to, but I really enjoyed this. I just thought it was brilliant. Next I'm going to recommend Frost Heart by Jamie Littler. Full disclosure, I have about 130 pages to go on this, but I'm loving it, and loving it. And I know that this is Gav's probably his favourite middle grade of the year, to be honest, but he's obsessed with this book. He's really like pushed it. It's been the group read for Believathon and it's been brilliant. I've bloody loved it. It's so good. Following Ash, who is a young boy who is awaiting his missing parents and has been for a very long time. He doesn't feel like he belongs in the place where he is staying, and he gets himself in a little bit of trouble sometimes, and his friends as well. One day a ship comes in called the Frost Heart, and he ends up leaving with this ship and going on an adventure to try and find his parents. He ends up revealing that he has a bit of a magical side to him, and there are leviathans and some other bad creatures in this. It's just really good. There are illustrations. I just really enjoy the illustrations actually. There are like half-page illustrations, there are full-page illustrations. The person that runs the, you know, like the captain of the Frost Heart is a walrus. It's just fantastic. I'm having so much fun with it. I really do love this. I just think it's brilliant. Jamie Little's writing is outstanding. I'm just having the best time. The adventure on this is really, really good. The characters are so amazing. There's a Yeti in here as well, and I'm just really enjoying it. Loads of different types of characters, having the best time. I do recommend this. I just think it's great. Then I'm going to recommend Wizards of Once by Cressida Cowell. This is the first in what is so far a trilogy. I don't know if there's any more because I haven't read the last one, well, I haven't read the second and the third book yet. I've only read this one so far. But this, again, is illustrated, heavily illustrated. I do recommend physically reading this. It's very, very good. I haven't listened to the audio at all, but I had the best time. It didn't take me too long to get through this, despite the fact that it's a chunker, because there is a lot of illustrations in here, full pages, half pages, double pages. Just really, really good. Loved it so, so much. This is following two young guns, one called Zah, who is a wizard, one called Wish, who is a warrior. These two have been brought up to dislike each other's races, essentially. So the warriors hate the wizards hate the warriors. Zah has not come into his magic, and he's in his final year of essentially coming into his magic, and he's really worried that he's not going to come into it. He's a late bloomer. His brother's come into his magic. He seems like a disappointment to his dad. He gets himself in a lot of trouble because of it, because he's rebelling, and he's on an adventure to try and get a witch's magic, which unfortunately is dark magic, and he doesn't seem to realise that this is a really bad plan. So he's trying to get a witch's magic so that he has some magic then. Sends him on an adventure. He comes across Wish. They end up on an adventure together, and the witch's magic adventure ensues, and he gets himself in a bit of trouble. It's really, really good. I really, really love this. My favourite part of this, did I listen to this? I did. I listened to this on audio, actually. I friggin' lied. I did listen to this on audio, but I followed with the book. The audiobook for this was outstanding. So, so good. I'm going to listen to the others on audio as well. It's so fantastic. My favourite character in the whole of this is Squeeze Juice, who is like a little tiny, I don't even know what to call him, like a bug, but he's just really cute, and the narrator does such a fantastic job with making him really, really cute. Like, he says things like, "I is Squeeze Juice," and it's just, oh, my heart. I just loved him so much. Squeeze Juice is definitely my favourite character in the whole of this series, like this book. I just loved him. So yeah, I do highly recommend the audio for this. Don't listen to what the beginning of Steph said about this book, because she was lying. The audio is fantastic. And the last book I'm going to recommend is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. This is following a young boy called August, who has facial differences, and he has been homeschooled all his life, and then eventually his parents are thinking about sending him to school because he needs to become like a normal kid and make some friends and stuff. He's got friends anyway from the street, but he struggles to make friends because of his facial differences. People think he looks like a monster and he's got the plague, etc. He's got an older sister who's her world and she's his. But this sort of deals with a lot of different issues. So this is told from several different perspectives. It's told from August's, it's told from V's, his sister. It's told from some friends that he makes at his new school, so Jack. I think it's told from Charlotte's. It's told from V's boyfriend, essential boyfriend that happens, Justin. And it's told from a few other different perspectives. I really love that it gave different perspectives, because it gave perspectives of people that August might be thinking they're thinking one thing, but they're actually thinking another. And you get that, you know, like dual perspective on a situation. It's fantastic. The way it's written is outstanding. It's hard hitting. I was crying. I was laughing my head off. I just thought I got all the emotions during this book. August is my hero. He is an absolute angel. I want to watch the film now, because I believe there's a film for this as well. I've been holding off watching it because I wanted to read the book first. It's very easy to get through because the chapters are so short. Like, the chapters are like just, some of them are just a page long, some of them are a couple of pages long. Like, that's how short the chapters can be. It's really, really good, and I do highly recommend it. It's just a gorgeously hard-hitting, heartbreaking, heartwarming book, and I friggin' loved it. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. It was amazing. So I do highly recommend it. So those are my favourite middle grades of 2019. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please chat to me in the comments down below if you've read any of these, or if you've read something and you want a recommendation from me on something else. Maybe I might be able to help you out with that. Chat to me in the comments. Let me know. And I shall see you next time. Bye for now.